Some people think that they can just come over water and just do maneuvers and they'll be safe. The problem with water is it's hard if you hit it really hard, like in a spiral dive or something, so you've got to be very careful of that. It's always best to pull out of a spiral or a cravat, just enter in a stall or anything, but not a spiral, otherwise you smack into it and it's just like concrete. Also, you have big waves sometimes. If you've got big waves and you get caught in that with your paraglider, you instantly get wrapped up in it. People can't get to you because it shelves off. The glider wraps around you and just wraps you up. You can't move your arms or anything. You're trapped very, very quickly. In just 2 breaks of the wave, you're caught. And that's it. You're in serious trouble. So don't land anywhere near waves. But don't think, oh, I'll just fly close to the waves and the beach and I'll just land. If you think you're going to go near any waves, fly away and land in unbroken water. There are some scenarios where people say they would unclip from their harness and jump into the water, therefore being away from all the kit. If it's good open water and you're safe, I would say stay in your harness, because from high up you think you're only 10 meters above the water when in fact you're 50. So don't do anything like that. Look at this lovely smooth lake that Johann's flying over. How high do you think he is? 5 meters? 10 meters? Would you jump from this height? Now look at how small that rescue boat is. We're at least 20 meters up, and a jump from that height at that speed could be painful. So it's incredibly hard to gauge your height over smooth open water, and a strapped-in landing would be safer as long as you can take into account the wind direction. Land downwind. People think they have to land into wind. Land downwind, because what happens is you come in and you flare hard, and as your feet touch the water, you ease off the brakes and let the glider dive, keeping the lines tight and the leading edge hitting the surface of the water slowly, boof, like that. And that traps all the air in it like a lilo. All the lines are tight and away from you. If you turn into wind and land, it flutters down on you and you get trapped in all the lines. So the top tip, land anywhere downwind 180 degrees and you'll be fine. In nil winds, just encourage the glider to overfly you by releasing the brakes and not flaring so hard. If you're going to land in fast flowing water, a river for example, then you can gauge your altitude more easily. And also, because of the flow of the river, the priority is slightly different. You want to unclip from your harness and unclip from the paraglider, because that's going to drag you downstream very badly. In which case, yeah, unclip, stay on your harness, and the minute you touch in, let your hands up and let it go. The same applies to strong wind as well as fast water. Here's that rascal Johann again, busting his acro moves, but what is he doing wrong? There's a lovely sat, perfect brake pressures and immaculate timing with good balance. Then the loop, perfect, and then through the other way with total precision, pressured all the way round. But there's something he's doing wrong. You may be able to see the white horses and big waves below. So Johann was busy shaking his stuff whilst a big strong sea breeze was coming in. It may be smooth up here, but down there it's all chopped up and you wouldn't want to ditch in that. An hour ago it was a blue sky day, but now it's mackereled over. This is an indicator of moist air condensing in its shear layer when it funnels inland. Chris and I were actually on the hills behind at the same time as this, instructing our group to land because of the strengthening wind and the fast developing cumulus clouds popping off across the valley. Fortunately, Johann had organised a safety boat, but with hindsight, it's probably best to not even start doing acro if the sea is looking that bad and there's a suspicion of strong winds. But be aware that should you have to throw your reserve, unclipping from your harness before splashdown is not usually an option, whatever the conditions. This is because under the reserve you're normally suspended in your leg loops, so you can't unclip them. The only thing you can do is undo your chest just before you touch the water, and when you go in, then unclip your legs one by one. But with any water landing, whether ditching your main glider or under reserve, don't panic if you haven't unbuckled. You will get free as long as you focus on one buckle at a time and don't fight in the harness. Because there's air still in your harness, it does actually push you forwards like that. And so you feel a bit trapped. Oh, but you're not, don't worry. All you have to do is move the harness to one side and you can easily breathe, no problem. Plus the air slowly fills and then you get to a more upright position. This equilibrium lasts about a minute before the harness gets weighed down and restricts your movement. So this is the best opportunity to unclip and swim away from the harness. But the secret is really just don't panic, because I think all the people I go to when they throw their reserves, quite a lot of the time they're panicking. You know, just calm down. As long as you can breathe, you're okay. So just relax and you'll be fine. But just do everything calmly and gently so the lines don't get tangled up. Some people say just take a bridle knife and you'll be alright. But you've got to be able to use it at the right time. Personally, when you're being dragged underneath the water with a parachute, you won't be able to fish around for a bridle knife and cut it out. So I would say prevention is better than the cure. In other words, if you want to do manoeuvres, avoid windy days and practice over open water with effective rescue backup. So if you're thinking about doing manoeuvres, do them with a decent rescue boat, with them watching you on radio and able to get to you quickly. Thanks, Johan. Isn't he a star?